Hey guys, this is Jim, KN4YCD, and you're watching FEP Labs Radio. Thanks for stopping by. Today we're going to take a look at the Venlab digital multimeter. This is the VM200M. And straight up front, I want to tell you this was sent to me for review by the people at Venlab. There will be a link to their Amazon store in the description below. And they provided me this for review at no cost to the channel. So if you're triggered by product reviews like that, you should go watch a Smokin' Ape video. It sent me this. This is a digital multimeter, and this is kind of the budget model. They have several, and I've done reviews on a couple of their other meters before. So we're going to take a look at this and see what it does. So this comes with, obviously, probes. It comes with our meter, nicely packaged in a anti-static prophylactic bag, a set of batteries, and an instruction manual. Not much to this. If we take it out of our little bag, we'll see a nicely built small pocket-sized meter that does, honestly, it looks like pretty much all the basic functions. So let me get some batteries in this thing and we will go from there. Okay, we've got our batteries in, and as you can see, this uses two AA batteries. The hatch for it is right there. And it uses a screw connector to close the hatch. I don't know, and if any of y'all do, I'd love to hear why in the comments. None of these meters that I've ever looked at, I mean including the one I've bought for myself more than once, have a hatch where you can pop it open, you know, like a spring latch or something. They all screw down. I always thought that was strange. So the meter has a pop-out bail on the back so you can set it for benchtop use. Looking at the meter here, we see that it has a hold button to obviously hold a reading. It has a light. I'm going to assume that's a backlight. It has a manual switch, so this is not really auto ranging per se. You have to get it to the right range, and then there's limits on each of those ranges, as you can see, for current and voltage and resistance. This also has a diode continuity check and a transistor checker down here as well. Of course, it does voltage, resistance, and current. There's our common and our voltage, resistance, and milliamp connection, and then it's rated up to 10 amps at 250 volts. And then over here we have our ratings for that, which is 200 milliamps at 250 volts, up to 250 volts. So to turn the meter on, you just rotate the switch and the meter comes on, and there she goes. Pressing the light button turns on an excellent backlight on this. That's beautiful. All right, press it again and it goes off. Either way, no press and hold there. Let me set up our test connections, and let's give this thing a whirl. All right, so the probes are typical probes. These are labeled as Cat2 1000 volt probes. They have the little protective cover thing on them that comes off. And if you don't know what that's for, that's so you can have a smaller, shorter tip available if you're doing measurements in a tight place, so you're not accidentally touching other things with the same probe and screwing up your measurements or letting the smoke out of something. And both of the probes obviously come with that. And then it has the standard kind of shielded banana connector on the business end, or rather the meter end. And we'll plug these in. And so for whatever function we want to do, we just turn the dial to that specific function. So I've got it on the diode continuity setting, and obviously we have continuity. Let's grab us a diode real quick out of the box of diodes and give our diode a quick test. Let's set it up on the included awesome bail. You still kind of can't read that at this angle. Let's try that. It's better than nothing. And give a quick diode check. And there we go. So you have to have this set the right way for it to read, which makes sense. This meter isn't that fancy. And then that gives us our forward bias voltage right there that's going through. And 0.542 volts seems pretty legitimate. So we'll take that guy and get him out of the way. Awesome. Let's test resistance, which is what this little box is. So we're going to move the meter over here to the ohm range, and we use this little resistance substitution box here, and switch over to the low side and to the ohm reading, and there you go. 10 ohms, should be 22, pretty close. Not exactly high performance resistors in this box, 47. Let's switch over to the kilo ohm side, which moves us over here, and we got to change our range. So let's go up to 20K, and we should be reading almost 6.8K ohms, which we are. There's 10K, and so on. And now we're out of range until I bump up to the higher range. All right, so it does resistance. Okay, let's set up and test voltage on this. So I have the bench power supply over here out of the way, set to 9 volts DC right now. And on this meter you'll see this, and this is pretty much standard for most meters. This doesn't say AC or DC, it shows a V with a wavy line, that's the AC side, and a V with the dotted slash line is the DC side. So similar to the resistance, you've got to set this to the voltage range you're expecting to test. Obviously we could test it on the 600, and there we go, we're showing 9.06 volts DC. So that works great. Let's test AC voltage, and what we're going to do is switch our meter over to the 200 volt AC range right there, and I have an AC socket right down here on the bench. 118.4 is what that's reading, so that works great. I already showed you continuity. This meter does not do capacitance or inductance. This is a very basic meter. We saw AC voltage, we saw DC voltage, we've seen resistance, we've seen the continuity and diode tests. I am not going to mess with the transistor tester. The last thing we want to take a quick look at is the current. So let me set up a test bench for us with some current and a power source, and we'll go from there. Okay, I've got our meter set up for current, and I do want to point out one other thing too. Remember I said the wiggly line over the V means AC. Notice down here on the milliamps and the amperage range, that is showing DC. That is not showing AC amperage. So we are set up. I've got a little LED circuit right here, and as you can see, if I put the electrics to it, our light comes on. So boom. Let's find out how much current we're drawing with our little LED circuit. And you can see that we're pulling 3.99 milliamps, 4 milliamps. So perfect. The milliamp function works. That's awesome. And this is a true RMS meter, so it will give you accurate readings there. This is available on Amazon, and I will leave a link, an affiliate link to this meter in the description below. Be aware the channel gets a little bit from Amazon for every one of these sold. It doesn't cost you any more, and you purchasing it through our affiliate link helps out the channel. Guys, it comes with a user manual, which is pretty straightforward. This is a very basic meter, multiple languages, safety information. Don't lick this while you're sticking it on a battery, so on and so forth. It has hold mode, which we did not use, but that does exactly what it sounds like. If you have the meter hooked up in a dynamic environment, you can hit hold and it will display the last number read and keep it there and not change. That's useful if you're not looking at the meter when you're trying to measure something in circuit. It has the backlight, which we talked about. That's awesome. If the battery power is low, it'll be dimmer. How to check the battery, then our DC voltage measurements, AC voltage measurements, the ranges that it can do, and it mentions an important safety tip for any meter like this. If you're not aware of what range of voltage, especially that you're testing, set it on the highest range and work your way down. Don't start at the low range and work up. DC current, which is what we already did. Resistance, we checked. We're not checking any transistors, PNP or NPN types, because I don't have any handy. We showed diodes, continuity, and that's it. It's a very basic meter, and it's a nice one. Fits in a pants pocket or something for checking out gear at a ham fest, you know. This thing is obviously the size of your hand. Here's our specs and the range, and I'm not going to read all this. but you can see it's pretty straightforward. And that's it for the English instructions, and then we go into the other languages. Guys, that is it for this video. This is the VM200M by Venlab Basic Digital Multimeter, True RMS. This is available on Amazon at the link below. I believe this goes for about $10 on Amazon. Thank you. That's all I've got for today. 73, y'all.